Good day. People are going to call you crazy. They're going to call you outrageous, dumb, short sighted, not grounded. They're going to call you all these things. Whatever it is that triggers you, they're going to call you all these things until you come back home with the gold. When you come back home with the gold, they're going to say that you were the most brilliant person. They're going to say that they were watching from afar and thought that all the decisions you were making were stupid. But here you are with the gold. Some might say they always believed in you when they didn't. Some might say, I really had no idea where you're going with this, but it's great to see where you are now. It doesn't matter what it is. When you go the path less traveled, that first couple of years of you doing that thing is going to be trials and tribulations of everything in the universe, trying to see if you're really going to continue on your course. And what will happen if you have the courage to stay on it, if you have the courage to keep listening to people who you look up to tell you that you're being an idiot, you have the courage to continue doing it anyway, you will come back with the gold, the silver, the Bitcoin, whatever it is. You will come back with all of it. I have come back to my hometown with so many gifts to give back to my community and previous friends. I'm reconnecting with people that I haven't talked to in years. I just had lunch with the guy that was on the water polo team I was with. We were good friends in high school. Incredible human being. And we sat down and he's just asking me about my life. And it was a beautiful reflection, not because I needed any validation, but he was just essentially telling me, like, dude, you're like, you're the coolest person I know now. And I didn't set out on my journey to become cool, to become the coolest person, to have someone from high school that I went with tell me that I'm cool in comparison to what I once was. What I did set out to do was try and find the essence of my soul. And through trying to find that, through all the crazy shit I went through traveling abroad and really operating from a dysregulated nervous system, I do have a feeling now that a lot of the people that run away from home are actually operating from a dysregulated nervous system. It makes them more adventurous in many aspects, which actually allows us to bring back the medicine. So by the time I got my nervous system fully regulated, I finally come back home. But I have all this. I have a treasure chest of stories. I have a treasure chest of life experience. I have a treasure chest of understanding human consciousness by going through it myself. And so now I have a deep understanding that in order for you to get what you want in life, you don't actually have to make a ton of money. You don't actually have to have this material external thing that points to you being that thing that you wanted to be. All you have to do is go down the course that puts you in touch with your soul. And when you do that, which is usually, if you haven't watched it yet, watch the video I just posted on fear. When you go into the fear, you will start to find who you really are because you're confronting the things you're afraid of. And when you confront the things you're afraid of, your soul starts to open up. You start to realize, I'm still alive. I'm okay. And then you can start really touching base on all the wounds that we had. I was talking with this friend and it was wild because he had well, I would put on paper the perfect childhood. Parents never divorced, lived in a big house, lived on the water, had nice cars, all these things. Well, it's funny because I'm talking to him and he's telling me about things that he's going through internally, the struggles that he's faced as a man, the internal battles and conflicts that he's had trying to resolve what he didn't receive as a kid. And I'm like, wow, it wasn't just a me thing that I was going through when I was a kid. This is what every single human goes through, regardless of who their parent was. It's a part of the consciousness of reality for us to have to become a kid, go from being a pure spirit and vessel as a baby, become a kid, deal with our parents, have expectations that weren't met. Then, when we're adults, we have to let go of all the resentment we have for not getting what we wanted. And we have to let go of all of that crap and become a person of substance for the kids that we're going to have. And it's challenging. But the bigger challenge is actually living as a parent who never faced their wounds. In this conversation we were having, I brought up I've known some women who have been assaulted by their own family members when they were children. It's like, how does a woman ever let go of that? How does a woman ever trust after that? After her own father did something so not volatile, so disgusting. And we were having this conversation, and I brought up the person I knew who had this happen to her. Actually, one day, completely forgave her father and went and had lunch with him. And I go, holy crap, if someone can do that, anyone can forgive anyone of anything. If you know anything about forgiveness, at the end of the day, resentment is a poison that only the person who is resentful swallows. Someone who persecuted you in the past is not experiencing the resentment that you experienced towards them. They were the persecutor. They acted out of a certain way. Now, if they feel bad about that and guilt, then they have to deal with guilt. But you have to deal with the resentment. And the only way you can deal with the resentment is having enough compassion for yourself for being in that situation, and having compassion to the other person who persecuted you, and allowing that to just leave. And it takes a lot of work, and there's a lot of layers to it. But eventually, when you forgive that person completely, you realize it all comes back to one thing. We've all been wounded, and we've all been acting out our old patterns. And when you come from this understanding, we realize that there's not as much of a, this is a good and bad person. My friend used to work as he worked in the penal system. He was a cop, and he worked in the prison system. We were talking about, look at all these prisoners that we have, right? Well, if we have a lot of compassion for them, at some point they were children. And at some point these children had love and admiration for their family, and they just wanted to play. And at a certain point, they didn't get enough of whatever they needed in order to be good human beings. And one day, they snap. One day, they're in the parking lot doing some drugs and they get caught. One day, they're so angry, they take that kitchen knife and they do something very bad with it because they didn't know how to handle their emotions. So, within this video, there's a couple of things we've touched on. The big thing for me is just really cultivating the relationship with yourself to where you can see the treasure that you have within yourself. We all possess innate gifts and abilities that are sometimes, all of them are buried actually. There are many people that have gifts and you can ask them a question like, oh, have you always been good at that? And they could go, yeah. But for the really beautiful artistic expression that you see from someone, oftentimes you'll hear a story of like, oh, I never knew I had this gift and it just opened up, right? So I have so many gifts now that I can help people with, support people with, that were given to me on the journey of searching for who I really am. And I remember I was at a retreat once and I had all these guys saying really nice things about me. And I couldn't see it before because I'd never, even if someone said good things about me, it never resonated with me. I didn't have the capacity to hold on to that thing and tell myself, oh, that's actually true. And then give myself that love of those words, right? So all the love would fall off and I would be a shell of a human with zero confidence. Well, this one guy tells me, he goes, dude, you are a treasure chest just waiting to be opened for the world to see. And I never really thought about that until now. And he told me that, and I was just so stuck in my lack of confidence in my days of who I was because I just I needed a little more life experience and I needed a deeper connection with God to be able to let everything unravel. And also, a big part of life that people don't talk about is we need time to become who we're meant to be. The gladiator wasn't built in one day. Rome wasn't built in one day. Does a bear shit in the woods? Absolutely. Don't know where that came from. But you don't build your dream reality in one day. You build it through patience and perseverance. You build it through having to experience all these negative emotions and deal with them. When you deal with them enough, nothing in reality becomes negative anymore. It's just an experience. The experience of life, the experience of living. And when you're just experiencing life, you can have gratitude for everything without putting expectations of how you want it to be so that you can get needs met. That is real freedom. Reality changes the more we change internally. It does not change when you get more money. If you changed and the money came in and you became a different person, that's different. But I've seen many people, I had old friends in the coaching space, these two guys in particular, they went all in on crypto. They had like $700,000 in their bank account that they got, and they got super greedy and they held on so that they could get more. Whoa, what if it's 1.5 billion? What if it's 2 million? And they lost all of it. And it's not the market that does that. It's our own capacity in what we believe we can receive. And so greed will come in and it will pull you into the quicksand it is when you want more than you're actually able to hold through the capacity God has given you. We all have the ability to cultivate a deep relationship with God through speaking with Him daily. When you speak with Him enough, you will be given the opportunity to know intuitively what you should do. And so outsourcing your power to other people giving you advice is actually just outsourcing your power to eventually come to the realization, if you get here, to the realization I'm having now, that you could have just outsourced your power to God by having a connection with Him. And it's not even outsourcing, it's a relationship. You have a relationship with God, you don't need to outsource anything to anyone. Now, are you going to have a conversation with God about tax code and finance? Probably not, because you don't know anything about that. But God will give you the answers to where you need to go to get that sorted. So when I first set out on my journey, it came from immense pain. I was damn near a couple more years of doing the same thing, ending it all. And I always told myself I would never do that, and I didn't let it happen. But if I reflect on if I kept going down that route, I could have very, very much became just like my coworker, who one day I walk into work and he was gone because he couldn't take it anymore. But the difference between me and him, his example actually gave me the blueprint for what I needed to do. He showed me, and God bless his soul, Brian. Thank you. Brian showed me, dude, you got buried dreams. You've got buried potential. You've got things you want to do, go do them. Life is short. So, despite my fear, despite the sickness that I had, I booked a one-way ticket to Colombia. And I had, for years, family members, cousins, people in my network, people in my past, people I was meeting, asking me questions that were making me question my reality and why I was doing the things I did, but I kept going forward and I kept following the little breadcrumb. This is what's next. This is what's next. And I got myself into pickles. And I found through those pickles I got myself into that I was never out of the game. I kept waking up. Kept waking up. And then one day, reality was so different. And then the next day, again. The thing is, life life keeps getting better. The better it gets, the better it can get. Don't buy into the illusion of, oh yeah, do it while you're young. Oh yeah, when I was young, I could do that. Keep telling yourself, hey, my past doesn't matter anymore. It's now that matters. My future doesn't matter. It's now that matters. If I want to wake up today and quit my banking job and go open up a library where I let a bunch of cats live in there, well, I can go start doing that. If I have kids and I say, oh, I can't do that because I have kids and I have responsibilities. Well, we all have responsibilities. When you put the responsibility of your own happiness before everything else, even your fucking kids, what happens? And I'm not talking about just going and having sex with a bunch of women while you have a wife. That's just just being an idiot. I'm talking about you have these dreams that you want to chase. You have kids, you have a wife, or you have a husband. You have these dreams you want to chase. You're afraid to go after them. Start going after them. You stop telling yourself that your kids are the reason why you can't do it. You're the reason why you can't do it. You didn't do it when you had the kids. Now you have the kids. When you didn't have the kids, you said, oh, well, it's because I have too much stuff in my storage unit. Oh, well, I don't want to move to a new spot. Oh, well, my girlfriend right now is telling me I can't do it. It was all a facade as to why you couldn't do it. It was all a lie you were telling yourself because you were too fucking afraid. Stop letting excuses get in the way of what you're meant to do. There are few people that will take their shoes off and walk on glass. It will hurt. You will learn how to walk on the glass properly. You will learn how to avoid it. You will learn how to patch your own wounds. You do this enough and you have a treasure chest full of gold that people are wanting to be around. And not because they want your gold, because you are gold. They want to be around it. It's beautiful. It reminds them of what they are and what they're meant to be. We all have gold within us, but we have to mine it. We have to chip away at all of the dirty rocks that are suffocating what's inside our soul. Keep chipping, guys. Keep chipping. Don't stop. You've got this. You can do it. You'll be okay. You're taken care of. God loves you. Talk to Him. Talk to yourself. Treat yourself like you're the child of a kid you have. Treat that kid with admiration and respect. Lead that kid where it needs to go. Remind that kid that it's okay to cry. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to have negative feelings. And it's okay to express them. When you express them, you actually open yourself up to compassion. Find that compassion for yourself. I'm speaking to my old self. I'm speaking to what I wish I heard when I was going through all of this. These words might have gotten me to where I needed to go quicker. They may not have. But this is what I wish I had. It's what I have now. What I have now is a deep understanding that no other person around me, no thing around me is responsible for my happiness and joy. It only comes from me. It only comes from you. Have you ever been on a trip? You're in such a good mood. You're the life of a party. Everywhere you go, people are walking up to you, want to talk to you. Your energy's good. Well, what was the common denominator? It was you. Have you ever had a day where you're walking around? No one will pay attention to you. No one will look you in the eyes. No one wants to say hi to you. Well, why is that? It's because you're not saying hi to yourself. You're not acknowledging yourself. You're letting the parts that you don't want to acknowledge be the shadow you don't want to see. Accept all of yourself. Accept all of the darkness. This whole light worker bullshit, it's a scam. Because you cannot understand the beauty that the Lord, let me take that back, the beauty that God has given to this world until you see the beauty in all of your darkness. When you start looking at those things you don't want to see about yourself, you start to realize that the negativity you have is also negativity that other humans have. Negativity that other humans have is just a reflection of their own inability to soothe themselves and provide enough compassion to be able to become the people they wish to be. And so how do we change that? We don't point the finger. You point the finger, 3 fingers are coming back at you. We change that by taking full responsibility that it's our duty to be compassionate towards ourselves when we're hurt, when we feel betrayed, when we're mad at ourselves, when we feel anxious. We provide that compassion for ourselves, and that anxiety, that resentment, that pain goes away slowly. And then in the future, quickly. I experience pain now, I can get through it instantly. I experience negative emotions now, I can get through it instantly. What used to take me months to get through now takes me seconds. It's because I have compassion for myself. Because I have compassion for myself, I have compassion for fellow man. Because I have compassion for fellow man, people want to be around me. It's not that I need to be around other people. Do we need that as humans? Yes. To live a happier life. We don't need to. You can go live in a cave. You can be a monk by choice. But when we start to have compassion for ourselves, people want to be around us. Not because we need the validation of them being around to tell us that we're good. It's because we're good that they want to be around us. We don't even need their presence. But good people start to come around you when you become more of a good person. You become more of a good person when you face yourself. When you choose yourself over the things of what society's telling you to do. That is my cue, because these guys are hammering at a big metal thing, and it's going to mess up the video for you guys. I'm about done here. I'm going to go get back to work editing videos so you guys can watch some stuff. If you want to join Ubuntu Fellowship, if you're a man, you're going through it, you have big goals, you have ambition, you have dreams, but you want to be around other men that also share the same vision, and you also want to be philanthropic, which means you want to give back. You don't just want to be a taker and a parasite. Consider applying. The link is below. And if you make it into the tribe, I will see you inside. Later.